The engine is self-starting.
For launch. GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GNC, go. Max, go. Eagle, go. Ecom,
go. Pending final steps to cabin link check.
3, 2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the Rift Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Good evening, travelers and those alike. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is September 28th, 2025, and I'm Ed, the Hitman Odell.
And I'm Sarah. I'm filling in for Rhonda tonight. She's over at Sage Paracon.
What? Yes! She is out and about doing her thing, just like we were this weekend.
Of course.
We had a little bit of adventure, and I'm going to adjust that sparkle. Let's adjust that sparkle. Sparkle, go away.
I think sparkles make me look magnificent.
They're always magnificent. I couldn't disagree. You don't need sparkles, so I'm not going to go down that road and try to get in trouble. Yeah, okay.
Probably a good idea.
But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, travelers and those alike, we have a very special show for you. Someone you may even come across in your own movies, in your documentaries, YouTubing. He's all over the place, and some of his work you didn't even know it was a part of. So we're really excited about talking to our guest in just a few minutes. As always, we just catch up with you guys, say hello to everybody in chat, all of our travelers. And did you know he uses the word traveler sometimes?
I did.
This is
I did.
awesome.
I felt very good about that.
Did you?
I did.
I did too. I was like, oh, he uses the word. I like it. I like it. He might be home.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Mhm.
yes. Yeah. Who knows? So, good evening, Michelle Wilfong. That is the Haunted Apartment that will be airing very soon.
Excited.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Cindy Waghorn. There's a little thing in the brew for Cindy going on there. And our brother Keith Ottersberg from the Otters Den's in the house. Hello, hello. And if you are just tuning in and you're just coming in to chat, please acknowledge yourself right here. Chat's going to be open all night. This will be able to ask your questions to our guests, and our guests can see the questions as well. So it's all part of the show. It's about the show. Yeah, you know what that means. It's showtime, folks. So before we bring on our wonderful guest, you're going to see us looking up because we're also got the 50-inch screen. I'm going, hey, that's really cool. New toy. We had a great weekend.
We did.
We caught up with some old friends and some ASPS North Carolina.
Yep. They were able to make a good trip up here, and then we put them back in the car and took them a little further.
A little further. Yeah. An hour and a half up the road. All that to say happy birthday to Marty Siebel. Happy birthday to you, brother. Marty, of course, is the head of GOS, Ghosts of Stanton. If you haven't already, get your tour. Come on into the Shenandoah Valley. Find out what it's all about. And then come on over to the Queen City. Get your tours. It's only, I do believe, $12 now. And it's the best tour ever. And if you get here early, you get to tour the entire city. Oof, there's so much history.
It is. And you're not going to be disappointed at all. We've done a few of them with them, and they are just phenomenal.
Phenomenal. So, hello. Oh, Paranormal NL in the house. Jenny, how are you? Mama Susan, hello. See, that's why we're doing this. We're just relaxing, get more people in, and then we're going to bring the man of the hour on in just a second. But yeah, we went up there to we don't want to use Harry Potter because they got in trouble for the copyright too. But we did go up for the Magic and Wizards weekend.
Yes. So much fun.
I did it right.
It was, a good Witches Wizards weekend. So much magic.
It was. And then even though it was raining, vendors throughout town. No, you may see the pictures on my Facebook if you follow me. That does not do it justice, folks. It does not. The vendors weren't just there. They were in the entire town, all over the place. The shops got involved. There were even shops that they retrofitted their shops to look like the shops at Hogwarts and the city on the outside of Hogwarts. Diagon Alley, yes. And then we even had a special Stranger Things pop up too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we caught that. Mm-hmm. And in the Weasley's car was there.
It was so exciting.
We were like, check that out. So we had another special person with us last night on our voyages as well. I'm trying to remember. He was a guard of Azkaban in his attire. Mm-hmm. Robert Odell joined us last night as we all were there. And then we made a voyage a little further up north, about 10 o'clock. And we,
nine or so.
Yeah. And then we came back down. Yeah. So it was a great weekend. It's been a lot of fun. A lot of good things are happening in the paranormal. A lot of good people are reaching out, just like you guys being here tonight. So let's get on with it, shall we? Like we said, the show must go on, and it's showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, born from Columbia County, Pennsylvania. Trent, a small town called Berwick, raised near the coal regions of the state. He is an award-winning author. And not just an author now. He's also a musician. He also is a journalist, which music, which means he and I are going to have some really good talks, because with me and my part and him being his part, not much different. He's probably got a little bit more experience because I was junior and he's doing his own author. But all this led him into what he's doing now. So, ladies and gentlemen, award-winning author and a friend to the show now, Maximum Furek.
Okay. How you doing, Ed? How you doing, Sarah? And let's have a big welcome for Maxim Furek.
That's right.
Okay.
My accent, Maxim. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Everybody botches it. But listen, I really enjoy. I wrote this down. From the rivers of yesterday to the oceans of tomorrow. God, who came up with that? That's great stuff.
That was me.
Okay, I might just, if you borrow that for one of my books. I mean, that's
You know what? I would be honored.
Yeah.
How it came about, Maxim, was from the oceans of yesterday into the oceans of tomorrow, transmuting through time. We now hand you the key to open your mind. So, yeah, that's the whole spiel.
Good stuff, and I like it. Yeah, and also your the prequel to the show. I mean, all the visuals, the aesthetics is just wonderful. I mean, you guys do a wonderful job. So carry on, lad.
we try. We're really trying. I mean, we are a no-name network, so we don't have sponsorships like everybody else. So
yeah,
we make it as special as we can for the 480 so travelers out there. So I like to do it, and I like to spend the time working on it. It gives me a hobby, and this way I don't get on her nerves.
Okay, that sounds good. And how long have you been doing the podcast, may I ask?
It's 8 years now.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, good.
Yes, sir. Yeah. The show itself is 8 years, and the network is 7. So we've been doing pretty good. I built it from the ground up. So
yeah. And I gotta say, Ed and Sarah, that podcasts like yours give authors like me an opportunity to talk to some listeners, to let them know about our research and our books. And it's really just a wonderful service that you do. It celebrates free speech and, having a nice discussion back and forth. And so I really appreciate it. I mean, it really helps guys like me to have a voice, because, this isn't, we're not in corporate America. It's not ABC and CBS and NBC. This is like Middle Earth. This is like, this is the heartland of America. And there's so many people that listen to the podcast anymore. So it's just great, like almost a new frontier. And yes, we are travelers on this journey, this podcast.
Yes. I love the fact, we were just talking about that. We love the fact that you use that terminology.
Yeah. Why not? It works.
As we were doing the research on you, and if I cut you off, you smack me. That's okay. I understand.
You heard that. He said I could smack him.
Because sometimes my mouth will not stop. In doing research, in following you and doing some of the things, I did come across where you giving a lot of acknowledgement to us podcasters.
Absolutely.
And to you, we truly appreciate that.
Well,
because we put a lot of time in every week for every guest. And all shows should, and I'm pretty sure they do, but there's some that are stagnant and some that are moving forward.
Yeah.
And we've gone from podcast to vidcast. Now we're both vidcast and podcast. So you get us on all the major platforms now.
Yeah. But it's just great. The technology. It's great to, I live in a tiny little town in northeastern Pennsylvania called Mackinac. We got like 6 people and 2 goats. There's like nothing there. We're in the mountains, but But I am, I'm starting to get recognition as a paranormal researcher and author. And, it just tells the world that it doesn't matter where you're from, where you live. We all have this opportunity, because of the technology, because of podcasters like you. There's forums for people like me. So again, I can't thank you enough, because, I know that you folks and people like you are helping me spread the word, and that's what we need.
That's the other thing. That's one of our protocols here at the R.I.F.T Nation Network, giving a voice to those who may not have a voice.
Yeah.
And connecting these people in chat to you, because maybe they don't know who you are, or they want to say something or communicate to you. How are they going to do it?
Yeah.
They got a chance right now.
Okay.
We're their voice. So you'll see us popping up a little chats like this. That's Ryan C. Jones is popping up right there.
Okay, yeah, right. Okay. Ryan Jones, yeah, freaking awesome paranormal show. I know Ryan. I've been on his show. He's a great host.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wonderful, wonderful man. He's a
Well,
part of the Rift Nation now.
Yeah.
So we're really excited to have him with us. It's really
Yeah.
exciting.
Okay.
So, well, we got a lot going on. And you were talking about, communicating and writing and get you out there, and all of you authors and artists, just, you know. But the one thing I do have a question about, it shows that you started getting into this when you were 5 years old as a comic book writer.
Right. Yeah.
What kind of comic books did you get into to start this? How did you go about it? What was the format? Do you recall how you went about it first?
Well, I used to draw comic books. My younger brother's name was John, and I had this character named John Junk. So John Junk got taken by an eagle to the top of the area, and he had to fight his way down. It was just stuff like that. But I mean, just like, I did comic books, and we had, when I was in high school, I had an underground newspaper. So I mean, I always wanted to be a writer, always wanted to be a journalist. And when I read stuff that I had written, say 20 years ago, stuff that I find in the archives, I mean, my writing style hasn't changed that much. I mean, I'm a little less, a lot of novice writers and authors will just go overboard with the adjectives and the adverbs, and you really can't do that. It just kills the reader.
Yeah.
Be like Hemingway, strip it down, less is more. I mean, I don't need to tell you that the ferocious monster charged after her. That monster is ferocious. I don't need to go and kill you with the adjectives. So, so that's one thing I think that we learn as writers. And I'm a nonfiction writer, so I write about, and I have a great hunger, a thirst for the paranormal, and as you know, I have written books about Bigfoot and UFOs, demonology, and you're from Virginia, but in my area, like I took the term hoodoo and I added it to co-region. So co-region hoodoo has been one of my most successful books, just because in Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania is a weird state, weirder than Virginia, I'll tell you that.
I'm not going to disagree. That's right.
You said it, not us.
But Pennsylvania, most paranormal writers, when they write about Pennsylvania, they focus on Lancaster and the hex signs and the white witches, the Pennsylvania Dutch, powwow, all that. I mean, great stuff, fascinating stuff. Or they talk about Gettysburg and the lost ghosts, the spirits that are wandering, and who may not know that they're dead, but that's been the bulk of it. And I said, wait a second, I live in northeastern Pennsylvania in the coal region. And, we have our own stories, and I'm going to tell those stories as a representative of the co-region hoodoo. But let me say this, Ed, you introduced me as being from Berwick, Pennsylvania, in Columbia County. Berwick, Pennsylvania, my birthplace, is also the hometown, the birthplace of Richard Sharp Shaver. And he was the one who triggered the Shaver mystery with Amazing Tales. He was wanted by the FBI for conjuring the flying saucer hysteria of the 1940s.
You beat me to the question.
Richard Sharp Shaver, baby. Come on.
I like to think that's ESP.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our area, a lot of the people from Italy and the Ukraine and Poland and all those places, Germany, came over, and everybody came over with their own superstitions. And little by little, we started to get this, into the fabric of northeastern Pennsylvania, the coal miners, all that stuff, So, we have a rich history, and there's a lot of haunted houses. And again, that's why I'm here today. We're talking about the Smurl Haunting. And,
yes.
When Ed and Lorraine came to town. So
we're heading that way. And ironically, I don't know if you saw that or what, but Carin was the original co-host of this show.
I did not know that. No, I tried to read, I didn't reach out to the Smurls for my book. I thought that, they had already told their story. I didn't want to harass them, re-traumatize them, anything. I did meet Dan Rivera in Gettysburg on Friday, July the 11th, 2 days before he died.
Right.
We had a very nice chat. I told him I'm working on a book on the Smurl Haunting, and he suggested that I reach out to Carin Smurl because they were friends on Facebook. So I did attempt that, but nothing happened. So I don't know. I don't know if she, whatever. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what's going on because I did reach out to see if she wanted to be on the show tonight.
Yeah.
Come back for like a reunion, but
Yeah.
be able to talk with you. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to get on her messenger, so I didn't push it like you were talking about. Like, I don't push her. I'm like, look, you do your thing. I got you. You want to come back?
Yeah,
you're here.
Yeah, she was. Let me see. She was born in 1977. She was 11 when The Haunted came out, 1988. That was Robert Curran and co-written by Ed and Lorraine and by Jack and Janet Smurl. So that was 1988, and
that was a time, wasn't it?
That was, yeah. And, I was fortunate. I mean, I feel, a lot of people say, why'd you write the book? Well, did you write the book because of Conjuring Last Rites? No, I had written Co-Regent Hoodoo, and I talked about the Smurl House and Father Alphonse Treebolt back in 1983. And that book came out then, so that came out years before.
You beat me again.
It's
well, you know what I said?
My psychic ability. You've gone through your questions. You got nothing. You got nothing.
Oh no, I am armed. I was ready for you.
Okay. I'm gonna shut up and pace myself. Okay. Go ahead.
Well, the show's over in 5 minutes, folks.
But Dan Rivera, was Facebook friends with Carin. So
good guy. He was a good guy.
Yeah, he really was. Yeah, he was a Methodist that converted to Catholicism. And when you meet these people, they're just like walking on air. They're just so proud of their religion, their newfound religion. But all of these guys, when I went to Gettysburg to the orphanage, they all professed the power of God. And, when we talk about, the question is, it's the eternal question, does evil exist? Does the devil exist? And if you believe that that he or she does exist, the devil, then that God's power is greater than the might of the devil. And that's what we're talking about. And with the Smurl Haunting, I delve into the realm of demonology, and I look into the rite of exorcism, and I look at to try to define good and evil. And and I look at the Smurl House and compare it with other, and I don't mean to, take away any of your questions.
No, you're perfectly fine. You go for it.
Okay. Okay. And I compare the Smurl House with Amityville and the Wells House in Wilkes-Barre, and also the Hinsdale House in New York.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, I didn't know this, but as I was sliding down, I had to go up to Buffalo for my Navy buddy's memorial service. And, God bless Hippie Bob. He's passed away. But as we were going down from Buffalo down into Pennsylvania, the Hinsdale House was right there. It's just like, I think, north of Coudersport. And that was the one that was infamous. There were exorcists and demonologists like Father Alphonse Treebolt who cleansed the Smurl House but could not cleanse Hinsdale. He said it was just too evil. And when that happens, you take your belongings, you leave the house, you don't tell anybody where you're going, and you just leave, because this place is a hole to hell. That's what he said. You run away. And even today, though, Hinsdale House, Ed, you and I can go there. Sarah, you could come along, and we could pay money to spend the night there, for a fee. You could be there.
So let me ask you, with saying that, Maximum, how do you feel about that?
About what?
Are you willing to put yourself in that type of possible risk in a location? Would you stay overnight at one of these highly active locations?
No, I wouldn't, because, I think people that do that are naive. Being a paranormal researcher, I know people that are pagans and Wiccans, and I talk to them, and, a lot of Christians, sort of shy away from them. They think that they're, I don't know, in cahoots with the devil, or something dark, which is not true at all. But anyway, when we talk about things like tarot cards, Ouija boards, seances, fortune tellers, those could be a portal, to the occult. They could be. And what a lot of people go into this, they're very naive and they don't realize what they're doing. People that are knowledgeable, they may use Ouija boards to speak to a specific spirit that may guide them and give them information. So that's what they do. But for the rest of the world, we just use this as a toy, and we don't know what we're doing, and we don't know what's going to show up. It's like buyer beware. And I tell people, be careful around things like that, because that could open up the portal to the demonic. And there's several ways that people could become possessed. And Ouija boards and tarot cards are one way, if you don't use them properly, if you don't use them with respect. And let me just add that addendum.
I agree. I completely agree. I've been in paranormal majority all my life. I really started heavy in the early 90s. My family, my father and mother actually got me and Robert Odell into this. But it sounds like you and I had a similar path, because, again, you started like a rock journalist.
Right.
And I used to work for a magazine here in Richmond that was called Night Moves Magazine.
Okay.
I was a junior editor there.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah. So when I started hearing and listening and talking about you, and again, I'm like, wow, talking about roads that kind of did this.
Yeah.
I love that. That.
Listen, I'll tell you, my highest level of accomplishment was, as a rock journalist, I've had a lot of really good times, a lot of great interviews. But there was a place in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania called the F.M. Kirby Center for the Arts. Okay. And a million years ago, the director gave me tickets to every single concert that was there, whether I wrote about it or not. And I had the chance to see Miles Davis. Miles Davis came to town. It was like God came to Wilkes-Barre, and he was wearing the space suit, the shades. Yeah. And if the white audience didn't applaud him, he would turn around and show his back. But I was at a gig, and there were all these young musicians, and I told the one guy, the lead singer, that I had seen Miles, and about 10 minutes later, he's tapping me on the shoulder with all the band members. He goes, he's the guy. He saw Miles. They wanted me to tell them what it was like to see Miles Davis. Who has that kind of reputation, that kind of swagger, that kind of sway? I mean, Miles Davis did. He was just so, God, just like so wonderful. I mean, but I saw him for free. Zero. Special moments, man. And sometimes that press pass came in very handy. I know, yeah. And we had fun. We it was our passion. I didn't make a whole lot of money, but I don't maybe but it was fun, and
Hey, Ashley. You're good. Go ahead. Sorry, Maximum.
Yeah, and I see here Edgar Allan Poe is a staple for study. I agree. That's Robert Odell. Yes,
sir. Yeah, that's half of the Frog Brothers right there.
Yeah, Robert Odell. What Native American tribe was your town named after? I live in Mackinac. It's right next to Chickasha, and it's the Five Mountain tribe, or the Five Mountains. And I don't know. I think they were the Susquehannock Indians. Those were the ones that lived there. So, and also in our backyard, we had, during the Revolutionary War, and of course, Virginia is just filled with all kinds of history. But in Wyoming, Pennsylvania, up in my backyard, excuse me, they had the Battle of Wyoming, which was the bloodiest battle of the Revolutionary War, right in our backyard.
And speaking of, now, again, I came into your yard. I have done many events. I have worked cases up in Pennsylvania. Yeah. And you were mentioning other places. I worked up a little higher northern. I used to work at the Selma Mansion in Norristown, Pennsylvania.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I worked with the Pajama Factory in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Oh, that's close. That's getting closer to where I live. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So those, I'm a little familiar with your territory. I actually love getting out there and exploring. We love traveling when we can. So, yes.
Yeah. Well,
Gettysburg. Yeah.
Well, it's nice that that I mean, we're all on a journey, and we don't know what the destination is, but along the way, we meet kindred spirits, we meet people that share similar values, and this is just so nice. And the thing I like about the paranormal, I've been doing this, I mean, like since 2016, since my Shepton book came out, the Myth, Miracle, and Music, since that came out, that opened up the doors to the paranormal for me. And again, I was trying to write a rock biography. It was about rock and roll. It was about the connection of the song Timothy to actual cannibalism. And it opened up the doors to the paranormal. And as I've told many people, I never went looking for the paranormal. It found me. It stalked me, and it found me. So,
hey, Maximum, that actually dealt with a little bit of Nick Adams. Is that correct?
Yeah. Nick Adams was for the younger listeners. There was a program called The Rebel, and Nick Adams or Nicholas Adamczak played the Johnny Yuma, the Rebel, and he was a Confederate soldier. And I sort of, he inspired me too, because he was a journalist, and he would keep a journal of all of the things that he did, the battles and everything. And I believe he was, if I remember correctly, he was looking for his father's killer. So I think that was, the main focus, the motivation. But anyway, Nick Adams is buried in Berwick, Pennsylvania, where Richard Sharpshaver was born. And I lived next to Mrs. Adamczak. That was Nick's mother for a short time in Berwick. So small world. But Nick Adams was just huge. And then he died of formaldehyde poisoning, and that was a very stinky, smelly drug that alcoholics took, I believe, to help with the DTs, the shakes. Okay. And right, and so.
She's in the medical field, so I'm like,
okay. So formaldehyde, and I don't think they use it anymore. But anyway, he died of a formaldehyde overdose, allegedly with his boots on, with the doors locked. So it just seemed like it was a hit. It didn't seem like it was a suicide, but it seemed like it was, and it might have been because of a gambling debt, but we don't know.
Right.
We don't know. But Nick Adams was aggressive, assertive. I mean, he was friends with Elvis Presley. He was friends with James Dean. They lived together. When James Dean, like the original American Idol, died in that car crash, people wrote to Nick Adams. They wanted a piece of the wallpaper that James Dean had brushed against. Just give me a piece of that.
Just to get something.
Yeah. So that was something. And
wow. I went to Dead Man's Corner.
Okay.
I was there in '87. A friend of mine was graduating from Admiral Nimitz boot camp.
Okay.
And we took a voyage on up there. And that's actually, first of all, it's a gorgeous section. Gorgeous scene.
Yeah. And is that Paso Robles? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And he had what is it called? The Little Bastard. He had, what was it? A Spider or Tier? I forget what he was driving, but it was called Little Bastard. Yeah. And interesting, Sarah, this was before your time, but James Dean, he was a good-looking dude. He was young, youthful looking, and he mumbled his words. And so he became sort of like a template for a lot of the guys of the 50s. Mumble your words, be silent, just be mysterious. And that pretty much was how it was. I mean, Elvis was kind of like that. Ed was like that.
He mumbles, and I get after him so much. I just look at him and say, "Mumbler."
And one thing about Nick Adams too, he was great with the voices. And I think it was Giant. I think it was the last motion picture that Nick Adams did. I'm pretty sure it was Giant, but Nick Adams or James Dean mumbled his lines. So after the fact, they had Nick Adams do it over, overdub the actual lines. So that was kind of cool. Poor Spider. Okay.
There you go. Yeah,
Okay.
I was about to say Robert would know. He is a James Dean fan. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, on this path and from that book, I want to see your opinion on it, because I know how I feel from researching you. it seems like your one book led you to another journey and led you to another journey. Would you say that's right?
Yeah, but one thing I want to say is this. I mean,
Sure.
there's, when I wrote the Smurl Haunting, I mean, I wrote in the introduction that there was something that was channeled through me, so almost like forcing me to write this book. But I was at the right place at the right time. West Pittston was in my backyard, so I went up there numerous times to check it out. Why not? I mean, that's what we do.
Right. Yeah.
1988, Ed and Lorraine Warren came to Jim Thorpe. Again, not very far from me. I got permission to go there, interview them, and take all these pictures. I mean, all these pictures in in the book are pictures I took of Ed and Lorraine. That was from 1988.
Okay.
But I got to know them. I stayed in touch with them over the years. Lorraine was an animal lover. She had a rooster in her house. I'd call up to talk to Ed, and you hear the rooster and all this stuff. But they treated me good. They treated me with respect, and they mentored me, even though I realized, a lot of the world hates them for a lot of different reasons. They don't get, a whole lot of accolades from a lot of the people, including pagans. The pagan were.
I would agree with that because, there a lot of people have tried to be positive, especially in the paranormal, and they all want to jump on the Warren bandwagon.
Yeah.
But there's been some people that have dived into Ed's past or what they were doing behind the scenes. They're like, oh, well, let's throw this out there. But I think a lot of times when they do that, they're doing that just to get some kind of scene notoriety for themselves.
Well, I'll tell you what, when the Amityville Horror, when after Butch DeFeo butchered his mother, father, and sisters and brothers, and the house was bought by the I'm blocking the Lutz, Kathy and George Lutz.
Mm-hmm.
George Lutz's attorney claimed that over 2 bottles of wine, he wrote a book about the Amityville Horror that was a hoax. I contend that Amityville is such a big cash cow / cottage industry that anybody and everybody who writes a book about Amityville is going to make money. And that's exactly what happened. So it doesn't matter. I mean, people believe now because of that book that it was a hoax, but I don't. It was a moneymaker. And and for your listeners, just for a lark, Google Amityville Horror and see how many books have been written. I mean, Ed, I don't know if I could use this word, but there's a plethora of books, written about Amityville as well as motion pictures. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing. And, that's the one. And let me ask you this. Why do you suppose Amityville is so famous or infamous? Have any ideas?
Well, first I'm thinking wasn't the first family mass murder? No, it wasn't. No, I take that back. Oh, what was it, famous? You know what? I'm not going to say I know. I don't know.
Oh, okay, no, I was just curious if I think with Cain and Abel, it was one of the first horrific things in the Bible. But here's an example. Amityville is an example of patricide and matricide. I mean, here's a 23-year-old kid who butchered his family. But here's the thing. Listen to this. When I was writing the Smurl Haunting, I read Amityville Horror twice, and then I read High Hopes. High Hopes was the book by the prosecutor.
Okay.
And Butch DeFeo, 23-year-old Butch DeFeo, claimed that he was possessed by a demonic spirit.
Yes.
The prosecution, this is interesting. The prosecution had to prove that it wasn't a demonic possession, but Butch DeFeo was had a personality disorder. He had no empathy, and he needed instant gratification, whether that was his drugs, his sex, his homicides, didn't matter. So they had to prove that, and that's what they proved. So we can't get away from Amityville because we can't believe it actually happened. I mean, Butch DeFeo was a rich kid that walked around with thousands of dollars in his pocket.
And the other thing is, there's a lot of misinformation or misdirection in all these books. I mean, there's other books that say that his sister, before he killed her, she helped him kill some of the family.
Yeah.
And
And there's another book too, and I forget what it was. I was looking at researching all these books about Amityville, but the one guy was an attorney going through a divorce, and he claimed that he had solved Amityville and whatever. So the whole book was a rant against his ex-wife and against the whole Amityville cottage industry, so that's just one of them. But there's all kinds. I mean, you and I could write a book about how we time traveled back to Amityville and actually did it. I mean, we would make millions. So anyway,
I mean, it's a thought.
yeah. I with the Smurl Haunting, I compared the Smurl Haunting with Amityville, the Wells house, and the Hinsdale house, and I contend that the Smurl Haunting was more intense. There was a higher level of violence there, and specifically, Jack Smurl claimed that he had been raped by a female demon, a succubus, and Janet claimed that she also was sexually molested. So I just think there was something there, and the reason for that, I believe that we talked about one pathway to possession is through dabbling in Ouija boards and tarot cards and all that. So that's one way.
And then you have intent.
Yeah. Another way would be having a curse placed on you, which, happened in the Wells house. But another one, I believe, because the Smurls were devout Christians, they were devout Catholics, and I believe they had a mark on their back. They were
Really?
They were targeted because of their faith, because I believe that the devil, he or she scores more points by bringing down somebody who has given their life to the Lord and Jesus and all that. So
you don't think it has anything to do with the Queen Esther rock?
Tell me more. I'm not familiar.
The Queen Esther rock, that's the case back in the early 1800s during the Revolutionary War, where she cursed the town because her son died in a conflict.
Okay.
So she cursed the entire town. And I've heard people say, well, the Smurls opened up when they started to modify the house. I don't know if I believe that to be true, because that's a single location, but that's a whole town.
Right.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we had a similar thing in Centralia, Pennsylvania, where the Molly Maguires, they were going against the coal mine bosses who really treated the miners, horribly. So they were trying to go and right the road. They were sort of like rogues. But anyway, they had beat up this Irish Catholic priest. And what he did was he put a curse on Centralia. He said, at the end of the day, the only thing left standing will be the St. Ignatius Church.
Wow.
And in 1962, they set a fire. They were burning trash. And in my area, in the coal region, the anthracite coal burned. And Ed and Sarah, it's burning to this day. It has never gone out. It's called the Devil's Fire. And I write about Centralia in my book, Coal Region Hoodoo.
Sweet.
Yeah. So anyway, Coal Region Hoodoo, by the way. I mean, I would encourage your listeners, that they have any interest at all, to check out my website. It's MaximFurek.com. It's www.maximfurek.com, and it's all there, all the books and etc.
Yeah, because you got to read the books to understand the path. That's what I wanted to say, is to understand your path a little bit, people should be reading your books, because you build off your books. Hoodoo is an explanation. Paranormal, the paranormal book that you wrote.
Yeah.
Ooh, well, that dives into some serious stuff.
Yeah. No, it's been great. And listen, before I forget, thank you so much. I don't know who put together that intro.
Yeah.
That was good. I mean, I put that on TikTok. I hope you don't mind.
No, don't mind a bit.
But man, I mean, I had more responses to that. Man, does that kick butt? That's great. And who was that? That's not Shooter Jennings. Who was that? Who's the artist? Something Jennings, I think, but I never heard of it.
Yeah, I've got to go back
to the rap. But man, what a great song! That's powerful. And you did all these pictures of me in my books. I mean, man, it's like a time machine. God, I can't thank you enough. That's awesome.
I think that if you're going to promote somebody, do it right.
Well,
and I do it for everybody. I create that video. It's a promotional video. Then I create the promotional events. People need to be seen, and that's why they come to these shows.
Yeah.
And if I'm not doing that, I'm not doing my job.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'll tell you what,
love.
that got a lot of attention from a lot of people. I mean, know that. I mean,
I
a lot of times, even as an author, I write these books and people read them, but there's no response. I mean, we really want people to put a review on Amazon. That means a lot to us. I mean, that means a lot to us. So anyway, but just to tell you just how good that promotional piece was, I mean, you need to know that because it was freaking awesome. So
I truly appreciate you. I really do. And I appreciate that saying, you are in the 8 years I've been doing this, you're the first person who's come and said anything about it. And I appreciate that. I really do. It means a lot. It means I'm doing it the way I wanted to do it, and I'm doing it right.
Yeah. And I mean, I love the intro to your show, but I'm talking about the specific promo that you did for me and you tonight.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah, that one. I mean, come on, baby. That was pretty awesome.
We got that all over the place. I put that on YouTube too. That's
I called my wife over. I said, "Listen, you got your reading glasses on. Take a look at this." She was blown away. So, and then I tell her, and then it's sort of extended, so you got to listen to the rap part at the end.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
what caught me. Really, because I'm like, look, two cultures coming together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But if I could have gone it longer, I had to keep it at 60 seconds.
Yeah.
If I could have gone a little bit longer, I could have gotten the full lyrical rap in there too. And I was like, oh, this is perfect.
You know what? For people that don't like rap, they listen to the song, then the rap comes and say, hey, that's not so bad. That goes along with the song. It's good.
Because you're awesome.
Struggle Jennings. Okay. Struggle Jennings with Kate Lee. God, we need you now. Yeah, it was that good. God, man, that's awesome.
Renee Cody is actually our promotional. I wasn't going to say supervisor. She makes sure when we go live, she puts this out everywhere. So give her props, Miss Cody.
Yeah, Renee. Thank you, Renee. I appreciate that. Yeah. God, we need you now. Yeah.
And thank you, Chris, for being here.
Yeah.
So you made a comment too. And I want to pull this up real quick because there's certain things I want to hit on just a little bit more. You use an explanation of the paranormal, a 30%, 30%, 30%.
Yeah, no. I have a universal law 90, and it's about 30, 30, and 30. For example, like 30% of the people are going to love your light, Mr. Ed Odell. 30% of the people are not going to like you at all for whatever the reasons. And then 30% are on the bias. They could care less. they're busy doing things. So 30, 30, and 30. But I also talk about 2% in the book. There was a priest, Father Amorth. He was the Vatican's chief exorcist. He did thousands of exorcisms. And I would recommend your readers check out The Pope's Exorcist starring Russell Crowe. It's
so good.
Isn't it good?
It's so good.
And it takes place in that haunted cathedral in Spain. But I mean, it's realistic. It's true to life.
It really is. I actually, Bill Friedman is one of my mentors.
Okay.
So he studied underneath these gentlemen.
Okay.
And, I was just like, wow. You look at these things, you're like, look, there's a little bit of a road here. A little bit of a road. Kind of like you with the Smurl case and with the warrants. There's a road. What an amazing movie.
Yeah. And so Father Amorth said, with the Catholic Church. Now, the exorcisms are in Christianity. They're more the domain of Catholics than they are of Protestants. I think the Protestants let that go around the 1600s. For whatever reason. I mean, our views of good and evil just are a bit different. But anyway. Father Amorth said that before they can do an exorcist, they have to determine whether or not these individuals that claim to be possessed are actually possessed or if they're mentally ill. They have to weed out the 98% of the people that may be schizophrenic, have Tourette's, have bipolar, whatever. Father Amorth says 2% of the people are who he's involved with, he's interested in. And so I have a chapter called The 2%. And these are the people that, the exorcist will go after. The other thing, so 2% with demonology, but another number I just want to throw at you is 3% with ufology. With these things we see, we believe that 3% are anomalies. They're either theirs, ours, or somebody else's. We don't know. So 3%. So we have numbers for demonology. We have numbers for ufology, but we have no numbers for cryptozoology. I mean, nobody throws out any numbers about, Bigfoot sightings or whatever.
Right.
Out of all the Bigfoot sightings, a legitimate 4% are valid. I mean, I haven't heard anything like that. And I think that for all of these paranormal genres, in order for them to be accepted by the scientific community and by the public, in order for us to be respected and validated, we need more science to back it up, and
yes,
and so
documentation.
Yeah, and those numbers make sense. And this 3%. One of my favorite things is to jump on YouTube and watch these black and white sci-fi movies from the 50s. And the one, Earth versus the Flying Saucers.
Oh, yeah.
There's, with Roy Harryhausen, who did all that stop animation. Right at the beginning, there's this academic who says he's talking about life on other planets and everything. And he says, and this is 1957, that 3% of what we see can't be explained. So that 3% has been around for quite a while. So that's amazing.
Yeah, that falls into what Dr. Heinrich has said too. So yeah, I completely, I wanted to talk to you about him, but you know what, Maximum, if you would, we're going to offer an invitation to please come back.
I'd like to do that. Yeah. And, and maybe get more into the Smurl haunting and, the realm of demonology.
Yes.
And the rite of exorcism.
Some ufology with you as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we still got 10 minutes. I just want to make sure I offer that now.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's very nice. And I forgot how we got hooked up, but I'm glad we did.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's get into the Smurl a little bit.
Yeah.
That's an interesting case. There you go. Thank you, Robert. There it is.
Robert, listen, so are you, Robert. Thanks. It's the Smurl haunting of West Pittston, Pennsylvania is the theme of, Conjuring Last Rites. It's the final last rites. And in the end, there's Ed and Lorraine Warren dancing, just like Captain America. Steve Rogers and his wife are dancing at the end. You look in the window, there they are. And with Ed and Lorraine Warren, and I love them. I mean, they're so good. I mean, they're so good together. I mean, I just like them so much. And the show's going to go on. There's going to be like a prequel, and I think a show on Netflix or something. with the Warrens.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've been getting seeing some talk about that. But
yeah,
they're dancing there to a song by Van Morrison. But the thing I want to say, the Conjuring Last Rites got one thing right. And that was they showed the frenzy involved with that West Chase Street thing. There were a lot of people there. I mean, I was there. I went there numerous times just to stay in the background, to check it out, to get the vibe, to talk to the neighbors, never to approach the Smurls. They were dealing with what they believed were demonic energies, with a public that didn't believe them. They thought that a lot of the public thought that they were doing this for money. And then there was the media that Janet Smurl was getting hundreds of phone calls from media all over the world that wanted to do interviews. Hundreds. They were relentless. Young guys were throwing beer bottles at this duplex. I mean, it was just a horrific thing. So I didn't reach out to them. I saw Dawn Smurl at a bowling alley around 86, I think 87. It was around the time the book came out, 88 came out. Mm-hmm. But I didn't approach her again for the same reason. But the one thing I want to say with the book, they got the frenzy right. When they show West Pittston, they show this coal mining industrial stacks or whatever, and that's like a sci-fi movie. That's not there. Never was and never will be. Yeah. But they talked about Judy Warren, and Judy Warren was the protagonist of this movie. The demon was after her. Judy Warren, as far as I know, never stepped foot into the Smurl house in West Pittston. She had nothing to do with it, but she was the star of Conjuring Last Rites. But here's the thing. In the movie, they show the Smurl's German Shepherd, Simon,
yes,
levitated and thrown across the thing. It happened. Dawn saw that happen. And it was either, take a look at the possibilities. One, it was that it was demonic energies that did that. Or two, And we know about this through Stephen King and all of his books about Firestarter and Carrie and,
Yes.
Shining, these young adolescents, typically women that have these powers, these innate powers, and they're just filled with angst and anger, and it's uncontrolled. And, the result could have been. And
We see that time and time again. Look at the case of Emily Rose.
yeah, okay.
Perfect explanation.
Yeah. So, and I talk about that in my book. It was that. And then the other thing too, I went to see Annabelle when I met Dan Rivera. But with Annabelle was either A, cursed with demonic energies, or B, Annabelle was the result of all those people just focusing their energies on her and their thoughts on her and projecting, these powers, these energies into her, that she actually was demonic and had these things. So again, we have, human beings have innate abilities. Very few of us tap into that. That's what the Wiccans and the pagans are all about. They realize that. And Sarah, I take it that you know about this, right?
We're going to have to bring you back with us when we do this. We're going to have to make it a 2-hour show.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. But this thing about, with covens, with 12 or less, they believe in that we have a pathway. The right pathway is the pathway to helping and healing. The left pathway is for poxes and spells. But there's karma. Whatever you do will come back either threefold or tenfold. So be careful of what you do with your powers. And, but that's a good lesson in life, just,
I agree.
Be kind. I mean, especially nowadays when we are just like ripping each other apart and just, it's hard to even have a civil conversation. So just like, our country is really in a bad place right now.
We really are.
Mm-hmm.
We really are.
Yeah.
People need to come back together. They need to pull together. They need to sow the seeds of healing and love instead of the ripping and tearing of dysfunctional, evil intent.
Yep. And we need to, have the rivers of yesterday flow into the oceans of tomorrow too.
Right.
Absolutely. Maximo, let's take that time for a second. Can you get people out one more time? Where can they find you? Where can they get your books before we let you go there? And
just listen. Let me say this. For all you folks out there, support local libraries, support local bookstores, support local authors.
Yeah.
Corporate America does not need your money. Amazon does not need your money. I mean, you could go on Amazon and order my books today, but why don't you do? But do what you will. But my website is maximfurek.com. Check it out. And if you do purchase a book or two, please put a review on Amazon. It really does help. I mean, that's the one good that Amazon does for us. So
absolutely.
So Sarah, thank you so much, and Ed, I really appreciate being on the Orion Effect, and a lot of energy and a lot of listeners. Look at all the chat, boy.
Oh, this is going to get worse. Trust me.
Thanks.
We're not even seeing like 4 of the platforms, so that's really great.
Yeah. And Michelle Wilfong is saying, I like the 30-30-30 thing. And again, that's my universal rule of 30 that certainly in my life, and I want to say it this way, I think there's 30% of the people that love my light. And what that is, they want me to succeed. They want to help. They open up doors. I mean, these people go above and beyond what they need to do to help.
Yeah.
30%. Another 30%, they don't like you. There's animosity, there's professional rivalry, whatever that is, it's bad, it's hate. They're not there in your corner. Get ready for that. That's the way of the world. World's not fair. World's not fair, especially if you're, whatever, I mean, we know that. If you're, I don't want to get political. And then the 30% of the people are just busy dealing with their own stuff. They don't have time for anything else. But interesting theory about Christians and the devil. Okay, I don't know what that was. I forget what
I'm not sure either. But I know Ryan. He'll probably reach out and talk to you about it.
Yeah, good. Okay. But I want to thank you for the program, and thanks for listening. And this was great. So,
Now, hopefully, we can get you scheduled very soon. We can sit down and do a lot more chatting because there's a lot more to talk to you about. A lot more.
Yeah. And what part of Virginia are you located?
Right now, I am located. The studio is in Roanoke, Virginia. I'm
Okay.
originally out of Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I went to Hargrave Military Academy in Chatham.
Okay. Yeah. Because next week we're sliding down 81,
Oh,
and we're going to go to 40 west to Nashville. So I got I'm hanging out with
we're
my
right here.
hanging out with my Navy buddies in Nashville. So
You'll be
All
passing
right.
right past us.
and you're you're in Richmond or Roanoke?
We're in
Roanoke.
Roanoke.
Roanoke. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So 81 and our exit. You pass us right at our exit. We're right there at the Salem Roanoke line.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, let me know.
Okay. That sounds good. Okay. Well, thank
We're
you so
available
much.
next weekend.
Yeah. Well, this was great. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And we find for some reason a lot of dark things there, Christian things like the grotto where Pope John blessed the fleets in Flat Rock, Newfoundland, Canada. Yeah. One thing I just want to leave you with this, if I could. You know,
Yes.
Christians or Christianity tends to get beat up by the pagans because we tend to be one-dimensional, black and white. You know, pagans believe that we can and need to interact and coincide with evil or dark forces. And because I mean we're made up of all of that. So
Right.
you know, not just bright lights and joy and happiness, you know. So there, I mean, I think maybe it helps too with all of us to look at the shades of gray.
Absolutely.
There's a
Balance
lot
is
of-
balance.
Yeah, and
They
there's a
need
lot
little
of
bit.
gray
There's
in
a lot of
life.
gray.
Yeah.
Very true.
A lot.
Well, Mr. Furek, we truly appreciate you being here with us. We're going to make sure we get you on as soon as we can to talk a little bit more. Rondo will be here, so that'll be great.
Okay.
And we can get a little bit into some aliens and Bigfoot.
I'm looking forward to. I love to talk about saucers. I call them flying saucers and cryptids.
Yes, the cryptics.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are all about that.
Okay.
Well, we appreciate your time. We will talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You have a great night.
Okay.
What an amazing show.
Perfect.
Oh my goodness. I it was better than I anticipated and expected.
For sure.
I loved his energy.
It's perfect. It was absolutely. I mean, there's no other word for it. It's just perfect.
I agree. Now I want to follow up before we go. I want to follow up. I want to give you a reason to read his book. Okay, if you don't, you need to. In 1972, Hurricane Agnes came through, and at that time, it took out the original home of the Smurls. Not the haunted, just their home. This is why they had to move into the home we are speaking of now, which is 3022 333 Chase Street, and that's in West Pennington, Pennsylvania. Jack was a former Navy psychic. I'm trying to figure out how they put this in here. Psychiatric technician. So I'm going to put it like this. Yeah. And then when he went there, he went to work for Topps Chewing Gum and promotions. So Janet was actually the mother. She had quit her job so she could take care of the two daughters at the time, which would be Dawn and Heather. So Dawn and Heather, Jack and Janet all moved into a home, this home duplex with Jack's parents, which would be John and Mary.
Right.
So just so you all know, we're giving that a little back. You need to hear this, and this is why we want you to go to the book. We want you to read the book, and you get it for yourself. Now, here's another question I wonder. Let me see how many of you know this. Why was this such a big deal? Why was this case such a big deal to most? Do you know? Do you know why? Come on, travelers. Do you know why this was the biggest case at that time? Oh, thank you, Jen. Thanks, Rob. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, that's right, Ken. Great Jedi. Amen. Okay, well, this is why. This was the first mega media case that it was everywhere. And I'm going to say some names that some of y'all are going to go, oh my God, I feel old. While others are going, I don't know that show. I know you're probably going to be one of them, huh?
Well, you know.
It went from real people all the way over to Entertainment Tonight. It went from that's incredible over to the late show news. It was everywhere. It was in the Inquirer. Okay, we're not even gonna look. That's still news. Okay, still news. But the media here was amazing, and it was just a plethora amount of evidence and stuff that happened. And like Mr. Furek said, it's really interesting because it was so much that people were going against them and people believed them. And read the book.
Mm-hmm.
Read the book. Haunting. Smurl Haunting. The Warrens Come to Town. You've got to get this book. Just to pinpoint a couple of key points we want to talk about. Maybe this will wet your lips a little bit to get into that show. The dog was affected. It actually would growl in a completely different growl at times. Again, he brought up the dog being tossed into the wall. These are acts from extreme coldness. That is, Heather was experiencing extreme coldness. Now, come 1977, as he said, the twins were born. And that's who we were just referring to just a while back ago, the twins being Sharon and Carin. That's when things really started to happen, actually, is when the twins were born and really started to amp up. So 77 on. So the parents would always, this is another key point that I wanted people to hear too. The grandparents, let's use that so nobody gets confused. The grandparents would hear the parents arguing. So they had duplex, back and forth. So they came out of their home and they went over to the front just to check on Jack and Janet. And when they walked through the door, Jack and Janet and the kids were all sitting in the living room, calm as day, just watching the TV. I mean, come on. That for those of you who are in the paranormal research, you know what that means. You know what's going on, and it's been there. Banging in the walls and smells. The smells were atrocious, but on so many levels. So many levels. They actually had a point where they had electrical noises. It sounded like an electrical fire. There was nothing going on but a snap crackle of these electrical. So I've got here that actually Sharon and Carin were in 78, but I think it was 77. The other thing that, as us investigators, is one of the things we look for now, right? They would see an inky black mass flowing through the house. That's really intriguing to me because a lot of us have experienced that or documented or know that. Now, I don't need to talk about anybody else because he did talk about it. And I want you to go read the book. We want you to go get that book and read it and do your own research in it because what else is in there that you might be able to use for the future and your own stuff. But, sex with being manipulated and sexually abused. Look at the case of the entity.
Yeah, exactly.
She was raped all the way up to her time of death, which is, I think, in the teen thousands. And she moved to North Carolina, but yeah, she was still being raped. So, yeah. Let's see. Renee says, the case had physical manifestation, right. Sensory phenomena, correct. Demonic contact with the recipe for our case. Exactly. Cindy hits, oh, that's incredible. That was a good show. Well, thank you, Cindy. Renee also puts in here, a perfect storm. I like that on a paranormal case to use that word, the perfect storm. One thing I would like to know personally, how close were they to railroad tracks? Was there any creeks? What was the ground made of? That would be the things I'd be looking at.
Yeah.
But all of you out there, travelers and those thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting Sarah being here and stepping in some big shoes.
Yeah. There's no way I can fill those. Rhonda's just awesome.
I think you did a great job.
Oh,
and I appreciate you jumping on with me and putting my support there. To all of you, thank you so much. It is going to be an interesting week. So just keep your heads up and be visual around your Be aware of your awareness around you, things going on. Keep your eye open, and that's your third eye too. And as always, make sure to help somebody out. Give me a handshake, make a smile. If somebody comes at you in gratitude, we'll find out why. Maybe a smile or going, look, dude, I understand. Maybe something just that much is enough for them to go, somebody's listening, somebody cares.
Yeah.
That's why we're travelers. So on that note, until we meet again, travelers, may virtue be yours.